All right. Hey, Tracy, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
All righty. Well, let's get started now. There we go. We're going to go on the record here with proceeding 25R-0513TR in the matter of the proposed amendments to the Commission's rules regulating transportation network companies for Code of Colorado Regulations 723-6. I'm Administrative Law Judge Robert Garvey. Today is the 23rd of February, 2026 at approximately 11 a.m. This proceeding comes on for a rulemaking hearing. Um, and as before we get started here, I'm just going to go through a few things as people are slowly making their way in. Um, I have read all the comments. If you want to make a comment, you're free to do it. But please don't take your comments that you sent in and just read it out loud to me. I can't do that. But if you want to stress something or you want to reiterate or clarify, that's fine. Um, you're not limited to one comment. If you hear a comment from another commentator and that makes you want to make another comment, tell me. The way we're going to do it is just raise your hand and I'll call on you when you're next. I also realize I'll have to see at the end of the hearing whether we're going to have another hearing, whether this is going to be it. No matter what, though, even if I close the hearing and say we're not going to, I will probably provide an opportunity for additional written comments based upon what happens here today. One of the other things I will tell you, and this is a problem that I have, please try and talk slower for my court reporter. Um, so when I call on you, please state your name, state who you're representing, spell your last name too if it's not already up on the screen for my court reporter there. And then just like I said, try and be uh, a little slow with your talk. I know it's difficult, especially when you're not used to it. I get in trouble all the time. Um, when you make your comments, I might have questions for you based upon your written comments. If you made some written comments, I might have some comments based upon your oral comments, or I might not have any comments at all. I'll just have to see what happens on this. This is there's not a whole lot of rules here, but they have gotten some interest. So with that being the ground rules that we're going to have, uh, I will open it up if anyone would like to say anything regarding these rules. If you could just use your little hand and raise that. Hmm. Either I'm blind or I'm seeing no hands. I don't. So I'm assuming people are just waiting to see who wants to tell. Is anyone? I mean, um, I don't know. I'll throw a couple of things out there just to get things started. Um, I don't. I'll tell you right now. I don't see how the rule. I know Riser or Uber was worried that this was the one portion 6708 one A1 made a strict liability. I didn't see how that was strict liability. I'll tell you that right now. Um, that's a question I was going to ask. So if anyone thinks it's strict liability, tell me that. If not, tell me why it's not. All right. Okay, we got a player. Okay, Ms. Lemieux, am I saying that correctly?
Good morning, and I'll address you as Your Honor,
You
Garvey.
you can call me. You call me anything you want. Call me Bob if you want. I don't care. ALJ Garvey, Bob. I don't care. Doesn't matter. I get a lot worse than both of those. So, uh, I'm gonna go.
Well, good
But you got to,
morning.
but how do you say your last name? So I don't want to mess up your
Yeah, my last name is Lamo. So
house.
yeah, nobody really gets that one right either. So no worries. I represent Uber Technologies. I'm legal counsel for the regulatory team.
Okay.
And so just to address your question on strict liability, the way that we view it is essentially the way that I understand the way that this is written is that if there is somebody that is on the platform and determined to be an imposter driver, that Uber would be penalized for that without any regard to sort of what measures we've put put in place to prevent imposter drivers from being on our platform, our policies regarding that, or the actions we took to address the imposter driver once we understood that that was somebody who was on the platform. It would just be a fine to us for the very fact that that person was on our platform. So that's what we meant by strict
Well,
liability, I think.
no, I understand for strict liability really well. No, I understand that. I'm just curious what in the language makes you think it's strict liability. The reason why I asked that is when I look at the rule, it says, I believe it says, TNC shall not allow, and that's the only thing that says. And I think the ACLU put some comments in, directed more towards the second part, which goes towards the driver, and they wanted a knowingly standard. Mr. Lamo, I don't know how much criminal law you've had. I've had a lot. I'm also a part-time criminal judge too. So we get into the mens rea, and is there a mens rea involved here? And so I don't allow, to me, is an action. Now, is that alleviated if you put the word knowingly allow? And so now we have a mens rea in there. To me, allow just does not a strict liability. I think it would be there'd be stronger language in there. Allow is an action, in my
Yes,
opinion, and you either knowingly or you negligently or you recklessly allow that action. And so that's why I didn't see the strict liability act part.
completely understood. And I think we were also sort of questioning the word allow, because obviously if it's against our policies, we're not allowing somebody to act as an imposter driver on our platform from our understanding. So I guess maybe the question is the word allow the correct word there?
Well,
I'm not sure.
in some of the things I think about, Uber, and I think about Lyft, and I think you guys you're doing well financially. Okay, but these rules have to apply for everyone. And so if a new lesser, there's one hop, skip, and drive or something like that this year, I'm not quite sure. I think they're more of a local one. And so that's one of the things that kind of worries me also. Your changes required certain aspects, but I also worry about technology that changes constantly. And the minute you have to have these three requirements in here, and the technology changes and they don't do anything. But I mean, is Uber alleviated if there's some mens rea that's put in there? Let's put it that way.
I think that would alleviate concerns if it was interpreted to, yeah, I mean, if that's essentially interpreted to mean that we aren't knowingly allowing this, by having technology in place and, diligently using good faith efforts to try to prevent that on our platform. I think that would help.
I mean, for instance, let's say you had stuff in there, but it wasn't working that day, but you still let drivers go around there. And so, I mean, there was something knowingly where you didn't do those things, that you knowingly didn't do those things to protect. I mean, I don't think what's coming up. My main worry is TNCs that are not as wealthy, as big as Uber or Lyft or anything like that. We got to protect everyone. But okay, is there anything else you want to tell me? I might have more hanging around. There might be more. Anything more you want to say?
Oh, I was just addressing your
Okay.
that specific question. So thank you.
No, that's fine. That's fine. I appreciate that very much. That helps a lot. Okay, Mr. Marshall, there, we got your hand.
How are you, sir? Good
How are you?
morning.
I'm good.
Good
Thank you for
afternoon
asking.
to you, Mr. Chairman, and to the commissioners. Really grateful that you all are hosting this public forum today. My name is Corey Marshall, Senior Director of State and Local Public Policy at the Chamber of Progress, a technology industry association supporting public policies that ensure all people benefit from the great technological future. We truly at the Chamber of Progress appreciate the Commission's work on this rulemaking and strongly support the goal of improving rider safety. We'd like to note that imposter drivers are bad actors who undermine public trust and should face strong and meaningful penalties. The question before the Commission currently is not whether action is needed, sir, but how to design rules that are targeted, workable, and technology neutral. I have a few points I want to go over, and I won't belabor them. First, regarding Rule 6708 on imposter drivers, platforms share the Commission's objective of preventing fraudsters from accessing transportation network services. However, the current framework risks creating strict or near strict liability for companies even when they have implemented robust safeguards. Platforms can design policies and deploy technology, but they cannot control individual behavior 24 hours a day. Today, companies already use layered anti-fraud protections, including identity verification, selfie checks, anomaly detection, reporting systems, and ongoing re-verification processes. We encourage this commission to evaluate compliance based on reasonable, good faith preventative measures rather than outcomes alone. A strict liability approach would ultimately increase operational costs and in turn raise prices for riders without improving safety outcomes. And I have a quick question here, just from a personal note. You know, I travel all across the country for work, and there will be moments where I have a 2-year-old son where my wife is ordering some snack that he wants or something to make dinner before I arrive home off of an airplane. And let's just say that if she utilized Instacart or another service to bring the food to our home, the app will have a 5-foot woman named Sarah as the person who's going to drop off those groceries. And sometimes instead, it might be a gentleman who is 6'5" who might alarm her a bit. There have been times where she's reached out to me like, "What do I do in this instance?" This approach would make the companies liable for bad actors, and I don't think that's the route we should go. Second, on Rule 6720 concerning public reporting of ride refusals, the Commission already receives detailed information through existing reporting channels. Requiring granular public disclosure risks misinterpretation and potential privacy harms, particularly when important contexts such as road closures, safety concerns, or operational limitations, in fact, may be lost. If public reporting moves forward, we recommend limiting disclosures to aggregated, high-level metrics that inform policymakers without exposing sensitive operational or consumer information. We don't think that that's necessary. Third, Rule 6725, addressing information sharing between companies, raises concerns related to privacy, competition, and due process, sir. Mandatory cross-platform sharing could unintentionally, I want to say that again, unintentionally capture unsubstantiated allegations or even individuals who are victims of identity theft, creating the risk of informal industry blacklists. Instead, we recommend a commission-led clearinghouse focused only on substantiated imposter cases, again, to penalize bad actors, ensuring accountability while protecting fairness and accuracy. In closing, we encourage this commission, again, thank you for bringing us to this table, to focus on enforcement squarely on bad actors while avoiding strict liability frameworks and unnecessary public disclosures that could increase costs, reduce innovations that won't be in the favor of Coloradans, and undermine consumer privacy and trust. We appreciate the opportunity to engage in this process moving forward, and we look forward to continued collaboration as this rulemaking moves forward. We thank you for taking this seriously, and I thank you for the time today.
All right, Mr. Marshall, can I ask you a couple questions?
You sure can.
All righty. First off, you heard what I was saying, Mr. Lameau, over a second ago about the strict liability. I'm not getting it. Tell me why you think that's strict liability. Like the TNC shall not allow a person to operate. How is that say there's a strict liability? To not allow.
It just seems to me, the example I gave when my family's ordering food, I think that the way that this language is construed is going to hamper innovation and technological, access. And I think we should be focusing on, bad actors, not the companies who are doing, from my understanding, everything within their power to institute safety checks to make sure riders and consumers are protected. And
Okay.
I think that this commission truly should penalize the bad actors.
Fantastic. And I agree with you. But if I use the word allow, if a TNC allows someone to do that, Are they using those mechanisms that you talked about or not?
If a TNC allows someone to do what? I just want
To be a false driver, to be
well,
if they allow it, if they allow it.
there are a lot of gentlemen who and citizens who've previously been incarcerated, who are coming back home, especially in the African American community, who want to have access to work. And sometimes these gentlemen or women might not pass the security metrics that are instituted by Uber and Lyft and all of the other rideshare companies. And when that happens, and I know this because my ears to the ground in these communities, when that happens, maybe a cousin or maybe a girlfriend will open up an account so that you can um, skirt around the rules and the protections that Uber has and Lyft and other TNC companies have put in place to keep us all protected. Now, I'd have to ask you this question. Who's responsible for bypassing those security checks? The girlfriend or the cousin? Because the companies,
So it's just
all the,
screwed. So it's just screwed, in other words. Is that, I mean, that's the way you make me sound. I mean, so why even
no,
worry
I don't.
about it? Why worry about it? Because if that's going to happen, why do we worry about it then? Shouldn't we try and do something to stop it? Shouldn't we do
Yeah,
something? Don't you think if you went to the TNC and said, listen, you're going to be liable for this, maybe they would work harder? Don't you think that would happen?
I think that the companies have raised the bar over the years. There's data that proves this to try to protect consumers. I think that if there's an instance where a significant other or a family member are helping you to skirt around the protections and the security checkpoints that the systems have designed, I think that the bad actors should be penalized. You don't see the
I do think they should be penalized, but you don't think that the TNC holds any responsibility to try and stop that if they allow it, if they allow it to happen.
but how would it respectfully, I'm just asking,
Yeah,
this
huh. No, no, go ahead.
collegial conversation. How would like let's say you have a criminal background and we're good friends and you want to drive for Uber or Lyft or any of the other TNCs and you send me a text message like, hey man, I can't get this job. I'm on hard times. Like, could you open up this? And I let's say I have a full-time job and you ask me, you said you tell me that you failed the security check. And I tell you that, oh yeah, man, I can like set up an account for you and you can earn the money and you can drive utilizing my account. That's illegal. Oh, wait, it's actually not illegal. No one's gonna hold me responsible, so I'm gonna do it. Now, I wouldn't do that if I thought I was gonna be held accountable.
No one's saying that that person shouldn't be held accountable. The next part of the rule says that they're being held accountable, and actually much harder than the TNC. But you're saying the TNC should have no responsibility if they knowingly allow it. And
I don't
that's what
think
I'm saying. If they don't, you gave, like I say, if they allow it, if they do something to allow it, you think there just should be no liability whatsoever.
I think that the TNCs, I don't think I'm saying that they shouldn't be responsible. I think that they have been incredibly responsible over the years that this technology has emerged. I think that they've instituted a number of checkpoints. I am a frequent utilizer of TNCs. I feel oftentimes very, very safe when I'm utilizing them. And that's because of the security checkpoints that's been instituted. But I think that I've had an instance where a driver was impersonating someone else. And I don't think that in the state that I was in, that there were protections that would have kept me and other consumers safe by holding that person accountable.
No, like I said, there's no question. It's a very hard thing, and I'm not saying it's easy for a TNC to do it. But if there's something where they do not take the steps, and we'll leave it. I think I appreciate that, and I appreciate you talking about that. I want to ask you a couple other things though before I forget. You said there's sensitive data. What sensitive data is being collected in 6720? What do you think is the sensitive data?
Um, uh, uh, IDs, one of the things you have to put in these systems and platforms is sensitive, your address,
No,
your
that's the address isn't part of it. It's just zip code. It's only for declined rides and it's zip code and it's not the driver's name. It's the driver's name is hidden. I'm curious what the sensitive part is.
I will get back. I will actually send you a response to this question after I
Okay,
do
that's
more
fine.
in depth.
That's fine. And here's the other thing I want to know. What's the difference if Uber asks the commission for background then, or if they ask if Lyft sends something to the commission and says Joe Smith's bad, what's the difference if Uber asks the commission or if asks Lyft about Joe Smith?
Repeat that for me, please.
The in 6725, it's
6725.
it says the TNC shall be able to get information about drivers if they've been uh, taken off or whatever related to that. And your suggestion, and I've seen the suggestion of that it should go basically as a clearinghouse to the commission. And the worry is that there's something that's going to happen that drivers that shouldn't be are going to be blacklisted or something like that. But what's the difference if Lyft tells the commission and the commission tells Uber, then or if Lyft just tells Uber? What's the difference?
Well, if Lyft, if it's coming from the reverse or from the commission, it sounds like a mandate, and it sounds like a blanket that's going to cover every driver, which is why we are instead recommended that this clearinghouse only focus on substantiated imposter cases, like actual imposter cases, ensuring accountability and fairness.
But I mean the problem with it seems to be that the one TNC asks the other TNC, and I just don't see the difference if the TNC asks the TNC or the TNC asks the commission if it's all going in the same place. I don't. And the other thing I have with this one is I think most TNCs, like you, there's Uber drivers across the country and Lyft drivers across the country that have had wonderfully long conversations with me all about the regulations they have in their state. And I am hard pressed, especially here too, to find a driver that's not a driver for both. Um, that's by far the ones I see the most. So I'm not quite sure whether there's anything that requires if someone's driving for Lyft to and found to be allowed to impersonate it to not tell the other one. But that's the only things I see on that. But I appreciate it though. Anything else you want to tell me?
That's it.
Like that? Okay.
Again, thank you. Thank you for the time.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Marshall. Appreciate it. All right, Miss Sass, I see you over there. What you got for me?
Yes. Hi, sir. Thank you so much for the time. This is Stephanie Sass with Uber Policy Team. I wanted to first of all, again, thank you so much for taking the time to hear comments on this issue. We've been very grateful to have worked with the commission and the stakeholder process and grateful for this time. So thank you so much. I'd love to just take a step back and talk a little bit about the work that Uber already does to fight against and prevent imposter drivers on the platform. I think that's important to understand this whole issue. So Uber has advanced technology practices to fight against and prevent imposter drivers. The advanced technological practices do not just involve a single check, rather it's a multi-layered security ecosystem that verifies the driver's identity before, during, and after the trip. A key part of our defense is the proactive authentication. So every driver in Colorado is subject to a real-time ID check, which uses a high-precision liveness detection to ensure the person behind the camera is physically present and matches our record. So it's kind of like the driver will hold up their phone to their face and then kind of move around. It's the liveness detection. We actually used to use a selfie, but we found that liveness detections are even better to confirm that the individual is who they say they are. So we improved on that. Beyond just checking it is the person, we also monitor the technology itself. So our systems look into digital fingerprints that use machine learning to flag if one smartphone, for example, is being used for multiple unrelated accounts, while also monitoring the GPS data to detect any attempt to spoof a location. So moving now, if I can, to the industry reporting of imposter drivers as proposed in the rulemaking. And you were talking about this a little bit with the previous person, but while we obviously share the goal of the PUC preventing these individuals from, quote, platform hopping, end quote, we do need to be careful with how this information is shared among companies. We believe sharing proprietary driver lists between TNCs can create privacy issues. And so this language focuses on the disclosure of sensitive data outside the safety of the regulatory process. And it does so without a clear framework of how the data is used or protected. So it creates competition issues and effectively compels companies to hand over their proprietary secrets to their competitors with no guardrails to prevent the misuse of this information. Instead, what we've proposed is a centralized model where the commission receives the information and acts as the neutral intermediary. So we can report deactivated imposters to the PUC directly, and then the commission notifies those in the industry as necessary. This, we think, achieves our shared safety goals while maintaining the competitive neutrality and data security that a healthy marketplace requires. And lastly, just talking about the proposal in the rules to publicly report discriminatory ride refusals, we do support accountability. We do have concerns that making raw line-by-line data public without additional critical context about the data invites misinterpretation and creates real security risks for users. So more specifically, we're concerned that granular data regarding rider refusals could allow for the re-identification of specific trips, which could expose riders to potential retaliation or potentially compromise the privacy of both parties. Since the commission already has access to this data as needed for accountability, enforcement, and oversight, our proposition is that we limit public reporting to high-level aggregated metrics. Again, want to thank you so much for this open dialogue and willingness to consider our practical alternatives. We look forward to continue working with the commission to ensure Colorado remains a leader in safe, innovative transportation. Happy to take any questions and see if I can provide any additional info for you.
Okay, yeah, I got a quick one. I know you said, I know Lyft had the selfie thing on there. I want to ask you about the thing that happens when the drivers continue to drive. Like I said, I come from a criminal background. I did a lot of DUI prosecutions. And if you deal with that, you deal with the intoxilizer. Person blows into the car. They have to every 20 minutes or 15 minutes blow in again. Do you have that? How often does that self-check happen?
Yeah, absolutely. So we do the real-time ID. It's very important that it's in a randomized fashion. So we do that to try to keep bad actors from being able to game the system. So it's a randomized fashion. It occurs right now at minimum every 7 days. However, if we detect that there could be potential fraud, we up that considerably with obviously the intent of catching that person in the act of the fraud.
So,
for example,
every 7 days, I mean, we stop you on every 7 days. So once a week. So if they're driving 7 days a week, which they probably shouldn't be, but if they were driving 7 days a week for however many hours, it would only be once. So Monday they get checked, and whoever is driving for the rest of the week. Is that correct?
yes, sir, unless there's but we are constantly viewing for fraud detection issues. So if
what does that mean?
Sure. So if it comes up that it appears that the person has switched their phone, for example, we have the ability to know that. If it appears that something strange is happening between rides in terms of the GPS location, and it seems like they're trying to use someone else's phone instead, we have the ability through our GPS tracking to capture that. And then we can increase the number of times to however many times we'd like to, quote, catch that person in the act of the impersonation, which we frequently do. And then if it does seem like there's an individual attempting to impersonate a driver, we immediately pause their account. We go into investigation, and then certainly, if necessary, we take steps to deactivate that person if they are indeed impersonating an account.
Okay, so let me go back to Mr. Marshall talked before. You talked before, but he and I are friends, and I got a criminal record, and I can't drive for Uber. So under this system, Mr. Marshall drives on Monday. He gets checked. You do the selfie check, you do the move and selfie check, whatever that is. And then on Tuesday, I start driving. There's no way that you know that, correct?
Can you repeat the question?
So Mr. Marshall's talked about if he and I were friends and I had a criminal record and couldn't therefore drive for Uber for whatever my criminal record was. If he gets the account and he drives on Monday and he does the selfie check, and he knows he's doing the selfie check because it's something that he knows, and he does it on Monday, can I just start driving on Tuesday then?
So what I shouldn't say exactly every 7 days. It's not exactly every 7 days because we want it to be randomized. So that's about the average. Again, we don't want bad actors to be able to game the system. So that's about the average of the frequency, but it can definitely be more frequent than that or less frequent than that. And that's not something that we share publicly because that's something that we want bad actors to not be able to game the system.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit more, it's more fluid than that, I should say.
And so it's certainly not like an intoxilizer with my people who've gotten a DUI where they have to, I mean, they got to blow to start to the car, and then they got to blow every 20 minutes to make sure.
And I should say, we are very open to increasing that number. We've talked about that with the legislature directly. We've talked about that with the PUC directly. That's something that we're super open to. We do know that that's going to be part of something separate, but we are working on that with DORA regarding the sunset review as well, that we're very open to even more frequently increasing it. I think what's most important to us is that it's randomized so that the bad actors can't game the system. So again, I'm sorry, by saying every 7 days, that's too general, but I think I should say about every 7 days, but absolutely we increase it if we do find that there's any of those strange flags that are happening on the back end from our data detection process.
But just to make clear, and I want to make sure I get this right. I don't want to have anything wrong here.
Yes, sir.
If Mr. Marshall uses it on Monday and he knows that he's doing it, there is nothing, if on Tuesday, maybe it happens the next day, maybe it happens on Tuesday, but maybe it doesn't happen for 7 days. And I can drive for 7 days if I have his phone, if it's his phone, and there'd be nothing that Uber would know. Correct?
So just to clarify one thing, from our perspective, the key is really randomization. So we don't want to do it every single time because then they could game the system in that manner. We want to do it in a randomized fashion because then the bad actors will be able to game the system. I think that's kind of every
day. You don't want to do it every day, or you don't want to do it every time they start.
We don't want to do it exactly every time they start because let's say I'm planning to get someone to take over my account on that day. Then I know if it happens every morning, all I have to do is in the morning have breakfast with that person, have them take the liveness selfie, and then I'm driving. We want it to be super random so that it's happening, let's say randomly on like the 5th ride. Or, that's my understanding from our team is that the most important, the key is randomization. That is what is most helpful. And just to be clear, that's not our only way to ensure that the individual is not an imposter driver, right? We have a whole suite, which I don't want to take up too much of your time, which I think we provided some. But we have a whole suite of data detection that we're able to use to confirm that the driver is who they say they are, aside from just this one real-time ID, which we're excited about. It's something that we believe in. We believe all TNC should be using. And we're supportive of that being, codified into law and rulemaking. But again, this is just one piece of our technological suite of advancements.
Okay. And real quickly, I won't go into the strict liability thing, which again, I don't see. But the one thing I do want to point out, I'm sorry, Tracy, I talked fast there, is in your suggestion for 6708A2, the addition of the sentences you have there seems to be quite the opposite of a strict liability. I mean, it appears to be a sentence of, we get no liability whatsoever. Nothing in this section shall be construed to deem a TNC as a common carrier, regardless of whether any driver utilizing the TNC digital platform is deemed as such. So that seems to be a get out of jail free card to me. Would you read it that way as well?
I think from our perspective, and I know that you were talking a little bit with a member of my legal team earlier, is that we have an opportunity to show that we have taken steps to mitigate. That's really what we're looking for. I'm sorry. I was confused about what we're talking about. This is actually about apologies, sir. This is about distinguishing between common carriers and TNCs. And I'm happy. I don't know if my attorney has anything else to add. I think she's still on the line.
Yeah, no, I say it's just that language. I mean, there's been talk about strict liability, which I'm not sure, but this language seems to be, we're not.
So I think that
anything.
language, sir, is just to only, for the purpose, is to distinguish between common carriers and TNCs. That was what that line item was for us. So it's just to clarify the definition. Okay. That's what we're trying to do there.
Okay.
Just to keep the regulatory lines clean. Apologies, I was confused. Okay. If I could go back to one more thing, sir, I would love to just add, certainly one of the ways that we are able to also determine if an individual if the driver is not, who they say they are on the app, that we obviously have an opportunity, I shouldn't say obviously, for riders to comment, to complain directly both to the TNC, and they can obviously to the PUC as well, flag that the driver did not match the individual on their phone. So not sure how often you take Ubers, but when you are, before you get into the car, you can have on your phone the make, model, and license plate, and also a photo of the driver. There's also other safety processes we use. You can have a PIN number that confirms not just that the driver, first of all, we remind our riders always before they get in the car, confirm all these things are accurate. If it's not, that they have an opportunity immediately to tell the TNC that the driver is not who they say they are. That's one of the ways that we find a lot of these instances is we're grateful our drivers have this opportunity to share with us, and then we investigate, as I said. We immediately suspend, investigate, and certainly if the driver was found to have an imposter situation happening, then we deactivate them from the account. I wanted to flag that because that's a very important one that we use very frequently to help us understand what's happening in our rides. I hope that was helpful.
No, very much so. Thank you very much. I do appreciate you talking and going through that. Uh-oh, Ms. Lemo wants to talk to me again. Sorry, thank you, Ms. Sass. I appreciate it very much.
Thank you.
Hi again, Your Honor. And apologies, I don't have much that I want to say. I just wanted to clarify. I know you asked Ms. Sass a specific question about the language in A2, and I just wanted to explain what that language was there to do. It's my understanding that the proposal here is, the reason why there's something in the statute that says that the PUC can't hold TNC drivers strictly, that they can't penalize strictly TNC drivers, which is why they had to kind of get a little bit creative here in saying that they will penalize them as common carriers if they engage in this imposter driving, actions. And we just wanted to make clear through that language that, that we are still, as a TNC, considered a TNC, regardless of whether we have to do this fancy footwork to penalize drivers and call them common carriers, that TNCs will not be common carriers. It's just due to like regulatory concerns and the statutory framework, we are always very sure to ensure that TNCs remain TNCs. We are not regulated as motor carriers. There's two very distinct regulatory lines between the two. And so the only reason why we put this in here was just to clarify that regardless of how the driver is being held accountable, perhaps under the common carrier statute, that our business will not be somehow become a common carrier just because our drivers are that way. So it has nothing to do with my understanding of like how we would be penalized under A1. It's just to maintain our clear distinction in terms of regulatory status.
Okay, I appreciate that. Like I said, I just wanted to understand. Like I said, I hear the strict liability and I see that. I'm like, hey, come on.
Yeah, no, happy to explain.
No, I appreciate that. All right.
Yep, that's it. Thank you.
Okay. Any other hands? A lot of people, no hands. Okay. Everyone else is very happy with what we got, I guess. Uh-oh, okay, we got a hand. Okay, Ms. Parker.
Hi, and I apologize about the noise behind me, but yeah, thank you for having this forum for us to talk about these issues.
Hey,
So
Ms.
I
Parker,
guess one of
Ms.
my
Parker.
concerns is
Hey, Ms.
that,
Parker, whoop, hang on one second. Just for the record, could you state who you're with for my court reporter?
oh, I'm sorry, I am with the Colorado Independent Drivers United.
Okay, thank you. Okay, go ahead now. I'm sorry.
So yeah, okay, all right, great. My question was about like the using AI or whatever measures the rideshare companies use to identify a person along with name likeness, because there's a large immigrant community and a lot of drivers may be named Mohammed, either first or last names, and the confusion that comes with that. And I would not want drivers to be deactivated because it is assumed, or there's a perception that there is fraud because of these reasons, and then they're unable to even access a process of being back on the app unless they come to us for our legal team to handle that for them. But it happens a lot, very often, that they are confused with someone else, or their face. They may look like somebody else, and the database shows a picture that's not really them, and they have the hardest time trying to fight those issues. So I'm just wondering if this will create a justification for rideshare drivers to continue and even get more aggressive with that kind of treatment of drivers.
I certainly, I hope not. That's certainly not the goal. The goal is for the protection of the general public. And I understand that can happen, but I mean, a lot of that is going to go to the technology that's there to make sure the right driver's there. I mean, I wholeheartedly don't want to see people taken off uh, erroneously. Again, I also don't want to see people get
Right,
harmed
and
either.
I'm hoping
Yeah,
that
it's
happens. Yeah.
yeah, it's a tightrope you got to walk on that, and that's why we got to try and find a good balance. Is there any ideas that you have about how you could um, solve that? What do you think?
Well, I don't, I just wouldn't want it to be totally reliant on just the database showing pictures, because I had a driver who was deactivated from the app for more than a year because they said they suspected fraud, and a database picture came up of someone else that wasn't him.
Mhm.
And he was taken off the app. So I'm just not sure if reliance on just that facial recognition, especially with African Americans, should be taken at face value, because I don't think it is that reliant.
Are you a driver right now?
I'm not, no.
Okay.
You said,
Yeah,
am I a
correct.
driver?
Yeah. Are you a driver?
Oh, no, no, I'm not a driver, but I speak with them daily and talk to them, and they come to us for when they are deactivated from the app. And it's a lot of times it's based on suspicion of fraud, when it's not fraudulent. They just either have the same name as someone else, or they may look like somebody else, or a different name face pops up in the system. And I know that person particularly, because he even had to take some legal action to even get back on the app, and he eventually did.
In your contacts with drivers, is there any things that they've suggested or that they think would be a good idea in order to do that, or a way to do that?
Well, I think if they had a chance to explain that it's really them, but it's like they're never given that opportunity to talk to anybody. It's like going through a whole process through an app system where you're constantly chatting with the rep, and they seem to be scripted, and they're saying the same thing, and it just ends up not going anywhere.
And I said,
And
I think
and all of this.
that sounds like more of a problem with the individual TNCs and how they handle reports.
Well, it
that come
is,
in.
it is,
Okay.
but yeah,
But,
it is. But I just feel like,
no, I appreciate, I truly appreciate it, and I appreciate getting a driver's viewpoint of this. It's an important viewpoint to come in, and it doesn't come in very often. And so I do appreciate that. Is there anything else you want to tell me? Anything else?
no, I'll just end there.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Anything comes up, please feel free to raise your hand again. Okay. No problem. And I
Okay.
have Chris Bonham. Talk to me.
Hi, good morning.
Oh, you're great. There we go.
Or,
Maybe.
bear with me, sir. I'm just
Okay.
adjusting my audio here.
There you go.
Okay, I'm good.
Well,
All
who are
right.
you with,
Hi,
sir?
my name is Chris Bonham. I'm with Colorado Independent Drivers United. I'm both an organizer and I also drive on the side. I do drive on a part-time basis here. Kind of my concern with this with them wanting to go 100% AI on this. I've got a lot of drivers. I've got a lot of drivers who got deactivated for account fraud, and the thing that we're seeing in our deactivation clinic that we run through CIDU here is oftentimes it's a matter of like they change their appearance. You know, like they might have shaved their beard or had a weight gain or just aging. Like we're seeing that playing out again and again and again. I've had a couple times where I've gone to log in to drive myself, and it's tripped up just because like I might have shaved like my beard or something, or like a while back it was actually a weight gain I had since it'd been an extended period of time since I did my last photo or my last identity check.
Okay. Well, and like I say, I think as I was telling um, before, I think these are more related to the driver's interaction with the TNC itself and the actions that they take. Um, I believe, I mean, the rules that we'd be instituting here are more related to, at least for the drivers, where the driver would be concerned, is if after it's found that someone has allowed someone to impersonate a driver or is impersonating a driver, one of the two, and not so much the kicking off of the platform itself. I'm assuming that's more of an internal uh, matter with the TNCs itself. But like I said, I do. Is there any ideas that you'd have? I mean, again, since you're saying this, or do you have any ideas, and you're a driver, of how you think it could be better to make sure that the drivers are the same, or the right drivers are there?
So that's where the purpose of our driver support organization comes in. We actually go in, we investigate what happened with each driver's deactivation. We work to find out if it was actual account fraud or account sharing with somebody else. Uh, a, a good portion of the case, is just it's just something in the system that's tripping up the driver. Like nobody else has access to it. That's what we're seeing a lot of there.
But is there anything that you think that it would be a good way to assess whether the driver's right? Is there any good way, or are we just kind of we're at the mercy of what happens?
I'd say shorten the timeline for deactivations there.
What does that mean? What do you mean shorten the timeline? Oh, just for after they're deactivated, they can come back. They're deactivated for a month or a week or whatever, and then come back
Yeah,
quicker.
exactly.
But there's no upfront way that you can think of that as driver you think would be an effective way to determine whether person getting in the car uh, is not having an imposter in there. Is there anything?
That I that I couldn't think of anything right out the gate there.
Okay,
To be
that's
honest
fine.
with you.
No, that's fine. Like I say, this is more of it's a learning experience for me here, just to get information and to learn things, and especially from perspectives of from different perspectives. So I appreciate that. You got anything else, Mr. Brown? Got anything more, sir? I'm thinking not. Ms. Parker, are you back, or you just forget to put your hand down?
No, I was just wanted to add with that question, a lot of some drivers also report their apps being hacked through Uber, like they're getting phone calls to pay for this or that so that they won't get deactivated or something. So there is also the opportunity for scammers or hackers to hack these accounts and put in information that they want. And I think that Rasha could be a little bit more responsible for their part in their system being hacked and somebody able to use another person's account by hacking into it versus this person sharing their account. That could be one of the issues as well, as far as when it comes to safety.
Okay, so you think more of the onus and responsibility should be on the TNCs in these cases?
Yes.
Is that correct? Okay,
Make sure it's not hacked. Yes.
okay.
Thank you.
I appreciate that very much. All right. Have any other takers? Mr. Bonham, your hand is still up. I'm guessing you're done though. Unless something else came up. Oh, we got Kareem. Okay, Kareem. Tell me who you're with. Breaking up on me, sir. Try again.
Driver too.
It sounded better. Okay, who you with, Kareem? Try it again. Start from the top, Kareem, and tell me who you're with.
Colorado.
Yeah, that's
And I'm a driver at the same time.
I can't. I got like.
What
Hang
I'm
on, hang on, sir. Hang on. I'm not getting anything you're saying. So,
okay. I'm
I tell you
from
what.
Colorado Independent Driver United.
Okay. Go ahead.
Better.
Yeah.
CIDU. Can you hear me?
Okay, from Colorado. I can now. You're from Colorado. You're one of the independent drivers, Colorado independent drivers. Okay, go ahead.
Can I hear you?
You can't hear me?
Yes, now.
Okay.
Okay. I'm with Colorado Independent Driver United, and I'm an organizer too. My
Judge, I can't
Yeah, I gotta
understand him.
say, yeah, I gotta say, you suddenly got in a tin can, Mr. Kareem.
I'm using my Wi-Fi.
I tell you what, I'm gonna give you a suggestion. Why don't you leave here, leave the
For me.
leave and come back in. Leave and
And
come back in.
my photo
And that-
at home. Identify herself and tell me he's looking for me to book online.
Kareem, we can't hear you, Kareem. I can just hear like a robot talking. If you want to leave the meeting and then come back in, that sometimes helps.
I'm sitting next to Kareem. This is Chris Bonham here.
Give me your phone.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
There you go. Good deal. There you go.
Okay,
Now we
good.
got you. We got
My
you.
name is Karim Sawadgo. I'm from CIDU.
Okay,
And
spell your last name for me.
SAWADOGO.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. If Uber and Lyft want to be honest, identifying drivers, they have the technology and everything to identify the driver without passing what they're doing. Because what I'm thinking, they just want to use the fake drivers so they can avoid the extra charge, the surge money, everything, so they don't have to pay the driver's surge. Because if you ask me for a selfie, and I'm using my wife account, my wife at home, and when I'm sitting at the airport waiting for a ride, you ask me for a selfie, you pause my account, and I call my wife, hey, they asked me for a selfie. Can you take a selfie? After my wife identify herself correctly, and he called me, hey, he's active, go back online. And they know that if they can limit, the app is only active on only one phone, not on multiple phones. And they knew it. Why someone sitting at the airport accepting a ride when the driver identifying himself in Lakewood or Inglewood? And they knew that, but it's not a problem. As soon as they have many drivers, they don't have to pay much, so they can maximize their profit. Is okay with them. But when we try to say, oh no, we do our best, and even high schooler can do this game. So I know Uber and Lyft should be held accountable for this.
Okay. Hey, Kareem, I got a question. You got Chris there too. I want
Yes.
to ask you guys a quick question.
Okay.
What percentage do you think of the drivers are on both Lyft and Uber?
Driving both apps,
Yeah.
I would say 75%.
Okay, that's about what I'd guess. I have a question, and so you guys know when drivers get taken off because they've either allowed someone to impersonate. If someone gets caught, or gets accused from Uber, and they also drive for Lyft, are they still able to drive for Lyft?
Yes.
Okay.
They can deactivate you on Lyft and you are active on Uber, vice versa.
Okay. It does
And
not.
the only way they're sharing information is like when Uber accuse you of sexually assaulting passenger
Okay.
or
So, okay.
violent, something like that.
Okay. All right. Thanks. I appreciate that information.
You
All right. Is there any?
Sir, real quick, if I may, to follow up on, if I may,
Sure.
real quick, to follow up on your, one thing that would help out, one thing that would help out on cutting back on a lot of these deactivations is if you had like if you had human eyes on each deactivation in the case on Uber and Lyft's end. Right now, like, we're not seeing much evidence of that until after our attorneys get in touch with Lyft and Uber there. Like, it's just a blanket deactivation with very little recourse in almost every case.
Okay. You said humanize. What do you mean humanize?
Like, some actual people to review deactivations right after they happen on Uber and Lyft's end.
Okay.
There's a lot of it.
Yeah, I gotta, and again, like I said before, that's not necessarily why we're here today. That's more of an issue between the drivers and the TNCs themselves. But I certainly, and if you've got legal counsel, they know where to go on that to protect your rights on that. But I do appreciate that, and I agree that we should have that. I don't know if I can do anything about it, though. I don't think I can. Um, all right. Anyone else that we have? What do we have? Okay. It's almost no, no. Oh, we got someone who wants to come in, so maybe they want to talk. Anyone else? Anyone else who'd like to talk? I'm not seeing anyone. What I'll probably do, I tell you what, why don't we take a break? Well, no one wants to talk. Mm-mm-mm. I'll take a break for about 10 minutes till about 12 after 10. I'll let you think about it. Maybe you want to talk amongst yourselves. I'll see if anyone else comes in, give my court reporter a break. And then if no one thinks anything, then we'll close it up after that. So I do appreciate everyone's talk so far. I really appreciate it. It's a lot of information that I'm learning, and I really appreciate that a lot. So why don't we take a break until 10 after 12, and then we might come back. We'll come back for at least a little bit. Okay. Thank you. All right, Tracy, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
All righty then. We shall go back on the record with proceeding number 25R-0513TR. And I don't know if anyone else has joined us, if anyone has decided, look, we've lost some people, but if anyone has decided that they want to get a last word in and thought it over, and going to give it a little bit of a chance here. Going once, going twice. All right, we're going to close this out. Let me, I don't think we need another hearing on this. Unless someone, that might get someone's attention if you want to talk on that. I think we're gonna end this hearing here and not have another open hearing on this. I will accept any comments. It'll take a little while to get a decision out on this, so if you can get comments out in the next 2 weeks, that'd be great. And I'll try and work on something at that point, try and incorporate them if you want to. You don't have to file any more comments if you don't want to. If you think you've made your case well enough, that's good. Oh, no. Oh, Mr. Marshall, there you go. What do you got?
Look at you want to litigate. I just have a quick question, sir.
I thought I was out of here. Darn it. Okay,
No,
go ahead.
sir. Should we just if we've submitted comments and we'd like to, reiterate a few points, should we do those the traditional way, as outlined by the PEC's website, or is there an email address to send them to? Like,
No, you just do, yeah, file them in the proceeding.
okay, thank you, sir.
However pretty you want to. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, just anything you want. I mean, I look at them again. I say, 2 weeks. I don't have a calendar up, so that's going to be sometime 2 weeks from today. So 2 Mondays from today. So I think
All right.
that would be the 9th. Get in by the
Okay.
9th.
All right, thank you, sir.
Okay, great. Thank you. And thank everyone for their comments today. This is really, really, really helpful to me. I think this is a important, interesting, however you want to say it, issue. And I think the rules here are going to address it. I think there's a lot of different things that have to be considered, which makes rules and laws difficult sometimes, but taking everything in and trying to do something that's fair all the way around. So it's not too onerous for businesses, and it provides the protection that's needed for the public. So again, I want to thank everyone for their participation today. The comments, invite anyone to file any additional written comments you want, and we shall be adjourned. Thank you very much.